It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Tsh, da, 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 da. Di, da, di, di, da, di, di, da, 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 da. Di, da, di, li, da, di, li, di, da. Di, da, di, li, di, da, di, li, 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 da, di, di, da, di, di, da, di, di, da.
Hold up. Norm of the North got a sequel in theaters. I saw no advertisements for this film and only heard about it because of Twitter. Why did this film get a sequel? Oh, right. I forgot everyone loved the first one, Dodoy.
I have never been so confident to give the movie the Animat seal of garbage.
This has no right being in the cinema. None.
It's one of those movies that's so bad, it's painful to watch.
If you haven't guessed, I'm going to give this film an F.
Fuck you, it's January!
It was actually confirmed back when the first one came out that we will be getting a Norm of the North 2 and 3. So we aren't done yet, get ready. Norm of the North Keys to the Kingdom was actually supposed to be a straight-to-DVD 40-minute film, but they put it in theaters because, you know, they want more people to see an iconic polar bear dancing around with an iPod. Yeah, thank you, Lionsgate. This movie is 1.5 hours, which means 50 minutes of filler were added so that they could put this in the theaters. I think the same situation happened with the first movie. It was supposed to be straight to DVD, but come on, Twerking Bear, let's put that in theaters. Before I talk about the sequel, let me quickly talk about the first one. This movie does not deserve to exist. It is awful. It has got to be one of the worst animated movies I have seen. Everything looking generic and ugly, the pop music so often, unfunny jokes, a stupid, boring story. Just a painfully bland movie. And I kid you not, they used the same fade transition every scene. I hate this movie. But you know what? Maybe. Just maybe, the second one is better. Nope, it is somehow worse than the first movie. I don't even know where to start. Everything about this movie is awful. Norm of the North, Keys to the Kingdom is about Norm, who has recently been crowned King of the Arctic, and one of his sons going back to New York City, where he is then given the key to there. And then, Norm gets framed for robbing banks, and the person that framed him also stole the key that was given to Norm. Then, once that is all figured out, this movie goes into a whole new plot with people trying to take away Norm's ice because it is good for water or something, and then there's a long-ass hockey game for who should keep the ice. Before I even say why I think the plot is stupid, I gotta mention this movie just feels like two really shitty straight-to-DVD movies just crammed together. Once you think the movie's over, a whole nother plot starts, and it has nothing to do with anything. If the two plots connected somehow, or the first plot with Norm getting framed led to the people wanting ice somehow, then it would have been fine. But guess what? It didn't. I'm guessing this movie was supposed to end with the first main plot, but because they needed to make it longer for theaters, they had to add that stupid hockey plot. That's my guess, at least. I don't know. So why is the first plot stupid? It is so predictable and cliche. We have seen so many times of someone getting framed, then surprise, it's the person you would least suspect. And now, because of that, it's pretty much the person you most suspect. And that's with the first plot, because surprise, it was the mayor that framed Norm. Then going into the second plot, which most of it was the hockey game that just dragged and was so boring because most of it was just extra time to make the movie longer. As for the characters in this movie, all of the characters in this movie were bland as ever. The people behind this movie, they did not care at all about giving these characters, well, character traits. But they did try to create good character relations and good character development, and oh boy did that come off as cheesy and awful. One of the polar bears on the team named Sam acted like he was the best on the team and got mad at everyone. Then randomly he suddenly came back and was like, "Guys, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have acted that way, I was so selfish, boo-hoo," which we have seen a lot of in other films, but has been done a lot better and gave us time with the character to actually realize that stuff was wrong wrong and not just have them randomly saying that. Now I have to talk about the animation. Oh my god. The first Norm of the North looked like shit, but at least it moved somewhat smoothly despite how generic the movie looked. But this is on a whole new level. They somehow made the character designs and animation to look worse. This looks like CGI in its early stages. This movie looks like how those really ugly CGI movies looked as they started off when CGI was pretty new, but we are in 2019 now and this looks like shit. Just look at these generic backgrounds. In this scene that looks like it was rendered horribly, they could have added cars or something on the streets, but nope. I can tell this movie had a small budget. I know that because if they had as big of a budget as they did for the first one, we would have gotten a bunch of pop music. They couldn't even afford to get Rob Schneider of all people to return to voice Norm, so they got this dude to voice him. All the voice actors' performances felt pretty fake, and I feel none of them could really express much emotion. Even the poster to this movie looks like a fan-made poster, and while I'm at it, the title to this movie, Keys to the Kingdom, is super basic, as well as the whole movie. A huge distraction from the film that I actually had the same problem with in the first film are the cross dissolves. They are so often and such a distraction to the film. There will be a scene that goes on for like 10 seconds, then it dissolves to the characters in a different area. It's like the animators were so lazy to animate them actually walking over there, so they had to just use transitions. Although the movie didn't have jokes as forced as the first one, I still thought the humor came off as very awkward and just unfunny. There were also just some things that made no sense. Apparently there's phones in the Arctic now that people can use. I don't know. How did they get good connection? I don't know. Whatever. Norm of the North Keys to the Kingdom was of course awful. A super generic, unfunny, ugly, uninspired, unoriginal film with no redeeming qualities at all. I don't even know why we are getting more Norm of the North movies. It's not like this one's gonna make any money. I'm going to give this film a fat 0 out of 10. I would give it a 1 or a 2, but I legit do not have one tiny good thing to say about this movie. It is awful, and you should stay away from it at all costs. I paid $7, and man, was that a mistake. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my review of Norm of the North 2, or Norm of the North Keys to the Kingdom. My plan is to review every theoretical movie that comes out this year, but I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But it is time to end this video with an and bye.